Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-fiance's best friend that he needs to live with a negative impact to play in my ex-fiance's misery? I, 30 female, am here because the people I'm close to that I would usually go for advice are a little too close to home and biased towards me to give a neutral perspective. I'm going to give some backstory for context first, but if there are more questions, I'll try my best to clear things up. Backstory. I was engaged to my college boyfriend Mike, 30 male, and was really happy. What I wasn't happy about is his friendship with a childhood friend, David, 30 male. The guy was an obnoxious and often rude jerk who likes to play pranks on people. It seems like the more inappropriate or the more people tell him to not prank them, he'll take it as a challenge and either target them more or pretend that he's about to prank them just so he can watch people be anxious over it. I couldn't stand a guy but was willing to tolerate him. And when Mike said that David would be his best man, I was against it. And we got into a fight, but I relented. During the objections part, David spoke up and said that he couldn't let his friend marry a cheater. He even went as far as to hire someone to be my fake affair partner. I ran away in tears as David left. I barricaded myself in the bathroom, bawling my eyes out, and refusing to let anyone in. I could hear Mike knocking on the door saying that David confessed to it just a prank, and that he knows I wouldn't cheat. But that didn't make me feel better. I heard my sister and best friend Jane, 31 female, calling out to me, so I crawled out and left. I called my parents and grandparents apologizing for the whole scene and told them that the wedding was off and I planned to never speak to him again either. Fast forward a few months later and Jane confessed that before the wedding she had a one-night stand with David, was pregnant and going to keep the baby. She was so remorseful about the situation, and after I had my space, I told her that it would be okay and that I'm still her friend. Jane named me as the godmother of her son, Tommy, 7 male, and he's a little cutie. He calls me Auntie, and Mike, who David named as the godfather, Uncle Mike. I will say becoming a dad made David a better person. Although I'm never going to like him, and I guess Mike never got over me and David feels super guilty and wants us to get back together, but I have refused. When Tommy's birthday was coming up, David tried to use that as an excuse to get me and Mike to talk to each other, but I shut that down. I even opted out last minute with an illness excuse. David then sent me a long text about how disappointing I was for not being able to put my past aside for Tommy's benefit, and I took exception to that. We went back and forth a little, and I told David that Mike had me over her, and that he just needs to live with his role in any negative impact that he cancelled wedding cousin Mike. David claims he's just trying to fix things between us, and that I'm being petty. I thought nothing of it at first, but now I'm starting to wonder, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Commenting again because I truly don't understand how people are thinking she's the a-hole for cutting Mike off. Clearly Mike has been turning a blind eye / enabling his friend's behavior the entire time. She didn't want him as the best man because she feared this exact situation. But Mike said F it and made him best man anyway, putting him in a position in the wedding party to achieve ultimate damage. Her future husband ignored her concerns, thoughts, and feelings, and probably had been doing so whenever she brought up David's behavior and simultaneously enabled David's lunatic-level actions. Why the fresh living hell would Opie want to be married to that? This. Literally this. Also, Mike is still friends with David, so go figure whose side Mike took yet again. Thank you, David, for once again interfering in my relationships. You couldn't let it rest for one day. Instead, had to humiliate me in front of all my friends and family. Mike chooses to laugh with you at my expense and pain. May I learn to shut the heck up in the future? Not stay home. David wants a time machine. Those don't exist, so he's resorting to shifting the blame of this partially onto you by saying you are being petty for not giving this a chance. The fact is, he did what he did. One of the most outrageous, messed up things I have ever read, by the way. Your ex also did what he did, which was 1, ignored your concerns about David at your wedding and fought with you until you relented, and 2, refused to hold David accountable for his actions every step of the way. Not only was he invited to the wedding, he was made best man, and clearly your ex did not call him out on his behavior before the wedding at any point either. David acted like an immature, cruel lunatic under the guise of pranking. Although he's apparently improved with fatherhood, he still cannot respect boundaries. And when he doesn't get what he wants, he shifts blame to guilt you into doing what he wants. not stay home, and frankly, he is the absolute worst. And your ex is an enabling moron for letting it get this far. Of course, you don't want to be married to that. Not stay home. You should have gone to the birthday and yelled, "He is not the father. Jane cheated." See how funny he found it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend's friend who is staying at our place that she can leave? My girlfriend's best friend is staying with us as she is just visiting from out of town. I know she has always resented me a bit for whatever reason. I honestly don't know why, but I've learned to just stay out of her way. When my girlfriend is around, we will talk, but I don't think we've ever even had a conversation when she isn't around us. She's staying for a week and it's been relatively fine. Literally 0 problems the first day. I like to take showers every night after the day is over, which is where the problem began. Our guest washroom is out of service at the moment. The bathtub works, but it's dusty as heck and no one has touched that thing in who knows how long. So we all have to share the master bed's washroom in the meantime. I was taking a shower, and when I came out, she ran in and accused me of using her loofah because it was wet. I had no words. I didn't even realize it was in there until she made a fuss about it. She smelled the freaking loofah and then smelled my body wash and said it smelled the same. I don't even know what to say besides I didn't use it. She said that even then it weirded her out that I was showering while her loofah was in there. My girlfriend tried mediating, told her to take out the loofah while I shower even. But she told me to use the bath in the broken washroom. And I said no because it's dirty as heck, and I've had to spend at least an hour to get all the grime out of that thing. My girlfriend and her BFF had a talk in a separate room, and when she came back, she just asked me to hold off on showering for a week. LMFAO. Yeah, right. I told her BFF she can leave if I make her feel so uncomfortable. And she did. She left and packed her things. My girlfriend was mad at me. She said that she was our guest. And yes, maybe she was being a bit too much, but it was valid to be uncomfortable about the loofah situation. She tried calling her friend, and she didn't pick up once. What the heck was I supposed to do in that situation? Yeah, maybe I could have cleaned out the bathtub in the guest washroom, but I don't understand why I have to inconvenience myself that much just to make her friend happy. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Her friend is insane to literally smell your body and the loofah. WTF? I have no idea how that could make someone uncomfortable. It sounds like she just seriously doesn't like you, unfortunately. She didn't actually smell my body, lol. Just my body wash. She could have stolen some of your body wash and then used the whole loofah thing as a premeditated attempt to get you into the crappy bathroom. And her not answering her BFF makes me suspect this even more. Like she's mad her girlfriend didn't white knight for her. Not stay home. What the hell? Does your girlfriend and her BFF not know that water splashes? And when the shower is on, everything in the shower gets wet. Not showering for a week to appease a guest is a ridiculous suggestion. But I think you should take her up on it anyway and see how she appreciates sleeping next to a person with 7-day-old body odor. Also, the steam from Opie washing himself with his body wash would explain why the loofah smelled similar. Not stay home. The girlfriend's BFF sounds unhinged. Who expects someone not to shower for a week? She's not the queen and it's your home, guest or no guest. Right? Like, seriously, what the heck is wrong with a BFF? You don't just stroll up to your friend's house, be invited in as a guest, then start telling them how to do things or what they can do and when they can do it. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to buy my girlfriend's friend tampons? My girlfriend invited her friends to the house for some girls' time last Sunday. In order not to disturb them, I spent my afternoon outside with the dogs to give the ladies space and privacy. When I texted my girlfriend that I was going home, my girlfriend called me and asked me to buy one of her friend a box of tampons on my way back. I reminded her if her friend needs it, she could give her some of her own tampons as I recall there were plenty in the house. But girlfriend insisted on me buying a brand new box specifically for her friend. I could hear laughter and some chattering in the background and realized that her friends were nearby listening to our conversation and making fun of it. I asked if her friend set her up for this, and she insisted it wasn't, that I could just buy a box of tampon for her friend like I do for her. I heard more chattering and giggling, and felt like a target of some sort of prank, a social experiment, or TikTok. I then stood my ground and said that I am going home. The dogs are hungry, and I won't be buying any tampons on my way back. Things were a little awkward when I reached home. And later, my girlfriend said I embarrassed her in front of her friends, that a decent guy should not be embarrassed by tampons. I told her I wouldn't mind buying for her, but I see no need to play along with her friends to prove that I am a decent guy. Am I the a-hole for my actions? If she actually needed them, you said you'd do it so. Not the a-hole. Pressuring you to waste your time to do so for a friend in a clear social experiment/weird flex is uncomfortable. It sounds childish. The girlfriend also lied about sharing the call with her friends. They're immature and shallow. Jumping on top post. Maybe I'm just tired today and I know I'll fall into the Reddit stereotype, just break up with him/her. But seriously, the immaturity/shallowness is strong on this one. If you already had issues with her filming pranks and posting on TikTok and now doing that with her friends, she's just not ready to be in a relationship. Imagine this girl getting pregnant by accident. Just do yourself a favor and move on. Not stay home. You are under no obligation to make your girlfriend look good to her giggling lemmings. I'm female and deal with it monthly and wouldn't have bought them for her. I also would never ask my husband to buy them for a friend just to prove he would. I'm a husband. I've bought them for my wife's friend because I was in the vicinity of a shop and she needed them, and she and my wife don't use the same ones. I hope he doesn't even know that's why she was asking. But if my wife asked me to pick some up just to prove that I would, I'd do that? Because why would I have a problem with that? Seriously, what's the arguments for why it's unreasonable request to stop by a shop on his way home? Honestly, it may not be the action itself that he has a problem with as he stated. It may just be the fact that the OP's partner was trying to test them for no good reason, other than to save face in front of her friends. I think the ask itself was reasonable until it was made clear that it wasn't for necessity, but rather for show. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for itemizing my household bills and demanding my significant other pay his fair share, now that his 3 teenage daughters have moved in? I, 33 female, have been with my boyfriend, 46 male, for almost 3 years. He moved in with me about 6 months after we started dating. Things were going quite well. He does not work as he is a disabled veteran and collects a pension. I work a decently paying job. I'd make about $60,000 more per year than he does. He would give me a few $100s here and there towards food/bills when I would ask, and I paid my mortgage and the rest of the bills. He was paying about $1,200 a month in child support for his 3 girls who lived with their mom, now 15 female, 17 female, and 18 female. I have 2 girls, now 10 female and 13 female, who live with me 60% of the time and live with their dad the rest of the time. About 6 months ago, his girl's mom decided she couldn't take care of them any longer. She had ruined their family home. No running water, septic was destroyed, holes in the floor, 5-gallon buckets used as toilets, etc. It was awful to discover, and at no point when the girls visited did they share this info with me. I don't know how he didn't know what was happening, but he says he didn't. At that time, the courts decided the girls needed to live with their father, who lives with me obviously. I knew this would be a tough transition for all involved. So for the last 6 months, I've continued to pay for everything and has given me $500 a month towards their support, food, bills, etc. Their mother has contributed nothing. Upon discovering that I was getting a bit behind with finances, I itemized my spending and determined that my costs have gone up by about $1,700 a month since they came here. Just regular bills, which doesn't include Christmas presents, clothes, salon trips, vacations, going out to eat, etc. that I have also paid for. I showed this to my boyfriend and asked that he started paying me an amount closer to the cost of the spending, at least the $1,200 he was paying in child support before they came here. He became very angry, accusing me of being money hungry and insinuating he was taking advantage of me. Then he told me he would give me $750 per month towards bills. I expressed that if he felt he could support 4 people for less than what I was asking him to contribute on his own, then he should do that. He says I should be okay because it's for our family. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. And what makes this feel worse is that I discovered my boyfriend's ex-wife also was dating a younger person with a good job, and that guy is now suing her for taking advantage of him. It almost hits too close to home. But I do love my boyfriend and his daughters, and I feel like if he should contribute more to the support of his kids when I'm paying the bulk of our expenses. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You are being used. Cut off your financial support of your boyfriend and his kids. Stop buying the groceries, paying their personal expenses, cell phones, car insurance, etc., and don't cover his/their debts. Your boyfriend needs to cover his and his kids' share of expenses for accommodations, utilities, groceries, and other shared household expenses. This means that he should pay at least half of rent/mortgage costs and 2/3 of utilities and groceries. You may need to stop buying their groceries if he won't pay you his share. You need to stop paying anything towards his/their luxuries. Don't pay for their spas, vacations, fast food, transportation, etc. If their parents won't pay, the kids can't have those luxuries. If your boyfriend refuses to contribute, seriously reconsider having him live with you at all. Exactly this. And if I were you, I would start the eviction process. I know that sounds harsh, but you are being financially mistreated, and you need to get your abuser out of your home. Not stay home. Also, I feel like Opie needs to look into legal ways to protect herself. They aren't married, so she should be able to just kick them out. Not stay home. He's completely using you. Start by not paying for all the extras. Clothes, salon trips, vacations, eating out. He can't pay those costs. If he refuses, I'd ask him to move out. Don't let yourself be taken advantage of. You've been generous enough. Honestly, those aren't even included in the figures for the bills. I did those things because these girls needed some positivity, and their mother was gone. But the totality of it is weighing on me heavily after having a conversation with him about money. Not the a-hole for asking him to pay his fair share. You will be an a-hole if you do not prioritize your own finances and needs of your own children. Every dollar he mooches from you is a dollar that isn't making your future and your children's lives more secure. Love isn't enough. I'm very much starting to agree. $1,200 child support was insufficient for the mom, hence the living conditions. How much does it make a month? I am guessing literally every last dime of his check should go to the household. Don't take down your household to support his. Your kids will be sad and you will too after 10 years. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have anything to do with my ex's son's graduation? This may be a bit long-winded, so I apologize in advance. Back in 2006, I started dating a woman who had a 2-year-old son. While we were together, I formed a special bond with him, and it wasn't long before he started calling me dad. It actually got to the point where I spent more time with him than her. In 2009, we broke up. However, I continued to take her son every second weekend. Even years after the breakup, he still considered me his father. We did the things he enjoyed, played video games, watched movies, went to the park, etc. He always had a blast. Meanwhile, he started forming a bond with his mom's now husband, and started calling him dad as well. Needless to say, dad number 2 didn't like the fact that I was dad number 1, so he started saying he didn't want me to take this on anymore. My ex, being the terrible person that she is, decided that instead of just helping us all come to a solution, decided to fill the kid's head with a bunch of lies about me. This was all just before Easter 2017. She told him that I was a deadbeat who owed her thousands of dollars, refused to find a real job, threatened to have dad number 2 deported. He's from the Philippines, and never wanted anything to do with him in the first place. Absolutely none of this is true. Unfortunately, the son believed it, and with that was the last time I ever saw him. At first, we were able to talk on the phone, but as he got older, that started coming to an end as well. Now it's been almost 2 years since we even spoke. We effectively have no contact whatsoever. It was devastating having to deal with all this, but I've accepted it and moved on. Anyways, this afternoon, I got a call from my ex. She told me in no uncertain terms that since he's graduating this year, it's my duty to contribute at least $500 to his graduation present and show up at his graduation gathering, if we can have them by then. I told her not a chance in hell. She chose to fill his head with crap. leading him to choose to not want anything to do with me. Suddenly spending time with them again would just open a whole bunch of emotions that I shouldn't have to deal with. Of course, she went absolutely off on me, calling me every name in the book and saying I ruined his graduation. She basically wanted me to buy him the one thing he wants, a PS5, and that it's no wonder he wants nothing to do with me. I told her to screw off and hung on her. Am I the a-hole for refusing to basically torture myself just to make someone happy? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She only called you because she wanted you to buy her kid an expensive present. Exactly. X is a real piece of work. I hope he could consider writing a letter or a congratulations card to the son offering to take him out to dinner or coffee to say well done and catch up. Not the a-hole. Send him a card to congratulate him with warm wishes for his future. If he wants to reestablish contact, he can. You have zero obligations to give a gift. Not the a-hole. Your ex is way out of line to think she has a claim. And do you think she'd let him know he contributed to the gift? No way. But poor kid deserves the truth and is old enough to hear it. I hope you write a congratulations card/letter to him, explaining what happened. Just the basics from your point of view, not trying to destroy his relationship with his mother, but just explaining that you always have and still do care about him, and you're proud of him for graduating. Figure out a way to get it to him without the adults blocking it. You could enclose a small token gift card or no gift at all. He might choose to renew contact with you, if you can handle that. Not the a-hole for not wanting to contribute cash. But if you two were very close before she poisoned things, reaching out and trying to re-establish a relationship with him independent of his mother would be a nice thing for both of you. I've tried, repeatedly. Who wants none of it? Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking accepting money from my brother even though my parents are against it? My dad runs a small business. He expected my brother to join him in this business. He did, but they had a huge fight over how the business should be run, and he quit. My dad practically exiled him from our family. This happened when I was around 10. We had a huge age gap, but I had fond memories of him before he went to college. I started talking to him again when I was 15. He is nice. Sometimes a bit of a know-it-all, but also very helpful. Last month, my dad revealed that he had invested the money they had set aside for my education. He had invested into his business, and as far as education is concerned, I was on my own as his business was struggling. They had always talked/bragged about wanting to pay for college, and it really shook me. Our household income is too high for me to get any scholarships or aid. I was venting about this to my brother when he offered to pay for some part of my college. I couldn't refuse his offer. My mom has been pressuring me to get a part-time job to pay for college. I don't want to do this as my schedule is packed with school and extracurriculars. My mom criticized me for being lazy yesterday and asked me if I really wanted to go to college. I snapped back that my brother was willing to pay for it. All hell broke loose after that. My dad doesn't want me to accept the money. My mom is talking about how it would hurt Dad, how my brother will use it against them and mock them for it. I feel a bit guilty as I know that he will rub this on their face the first chance he gets. But I feel I am being a bit greedy by ignoring how this will hurt them. Not the a-hole. The reason kids from high-income families can't get financial aid is because their parents are supposed to have the resources to pay for it. If your parents aren't willing to do this, and they're also the reason you can't get aid, then they really have no right to complain about how you pay for your education, even if that means accepting gifts that they don't want you to accept because it makes them feel bad. Not the a-hole. Sounds like your dad made a bad investment and left you in quite a pickle. Although, don't just accept the money. Make sure you talk to your brother about the conditions. Are there any caveats to borrowing the money? Are you expected to pay him back? Do you have to pay interest? Is there a certain time frame in which you have to pay him back? Also, make sure that it's clear to your brother that this transaction is between you and him. It has nothing to do with your parents, and to not involve them in any way. I would also recommend looking for a job, at least a part-time or seasonal position to make extra money. Especially since he offered to pay for parts of your expenses, not the whole thing. We'll have to figure out where the rest of the money's coming from. I also have a brother who is a know-it-all, but has a heart of gold. So it's very possible your brother is just trying to be supportive. But considering the family dynamic, Be very smart and logical about the whole thing to make sure it's not too good to be true. Not today, Hull. Get your education and leave. They used your college fund, it won't help you after they lost it. Take your brother's money and thank him for his help. Figure out how to rearrange your schedule so that you can work to get personal income to pay for your necessities, including schooling. In other words, you need to get a job and find a way to get scholarships and aid. Do the research. I was venting about this to my brother when he offered to pay for some part of my college. He's only paying for some part of your college expenses. So figure out how to get the other part through your own efforts. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have a relationship with my half-sister? I am a 15-year-old girl who has a dad who is a serial cheater. He has had 3 girlfriends, and each girlfriend has 2 children with him. Anyway, my dad slept with various women, even when he was in relationships. And because of that, he has many other children we don't know of. Once I was with my mom at a grocery store when I was 11, and one woman openly stalked us until my mom pushed me aside to speak with her. She was one of my dad's affair partners asking for help, because my dad refused to accept that the child was his. I didn't know about any of this, until recently another woman came to me and told me that I have a half-sibling who is 5. She told me I should have a relationship with her, and that her and I should be friends, so that my dad may notice her as well and accept her. I have a lot of social anxiety, so I don't think I can just start a forced relationship with someone 10 years younger than me. And to be honest, I really don't want to have to help her. So I told her no, and she told me that I was selfish, a snake, and the worst person ever. She told me she was going to send a witch to me, which kinda scared me, not gonna lie, and she started spamming my social media with creepy things. I kinda feel bad because I know she's just a mom looking out for her kid. She just wants the best for her, and it wouldn't hurt to try. But then again, the woman isn't financially hurting. It's more like she wants a father figure for her child and a husband, which I don't blame her for. Not today, Hull. The woman should be talking to your dad about that. You and your mom did nothing and have nothing to do with their kids. Thank you, but my dad goes hard ghosting, and the lady can't even speak to him. Sounds like a her problem. Shouldn't be having kids with a dude you probably barely knew. Also, no adults should be trying to scare a 15-year-old. Not today, Hull, plus report this woman to your mom, dad, teacher, police, someone. However many other kids your dad has 0 to do with you. You were not responsible for him spreading himself around. The fact that she would accost a 15-year-old speaks to her having mental problems. Plus, she needs help, but not from you. Thank you. I am still scared, so I don't know whether to bring it up with anyone. Bring it up. She is stalking and threatening you. The more people know about her behavior, the safer you will be. Not today, Hull. If this woman needs to find support, she can do it legally, not through you. You have nothing to do with your father's crap. You have 0 involvement in that, and you should not have a relationship with anyone you don't want to. Yeah, the problem is my country's justice system is quite corrupted, so I can just pay off people to not have involvement. For the next story, am I the a-hole for refusing to give my stepsister free product samples and giving them to charity instead? A little background. My mom and my dad have been divorced since I was a kid, and they're both remarried to people I get along with just fine. My stepfather has an 18 female daughter with his ex-wife who, until last year, lived with her mom in my stepfather's home country. She has been living in our country for university since last September, but in a different city, so we don't see her much either way. We have never had a good relationship, as she has always blamed my mom for breaking up her parents' marriage and has always made it clear she doesn't consider my mom and I family and wants no relationship with us. She's usually cold and distant at best and outright rude at worst. Anyway, she's currently on a little bit of a break, so she came down to visit my stepfather yesterday and invited me to go have dinner with them. Now, I work in media/advertising, and I often get sent product samples. Can't possibly use them all, so I have a couple of charities I give some products to, depending on what they are. Last week, though, I got sent a couple of samples of a product I thought my mom could really use, so when I went to their house last night, I took them with me. The samples were inside what was very obviously a press kit, and my stepsister asked about it. We had never talked about that part of my job, so I told her a little bit about it and she was fascinated, asking a lot of questions about what I normally got and what I did with it and stuff like that. When I told her that most products I didn't end up using I gave to charity, she went all like, "Oh, do you think you can run it by me before you do that next time? Maybe I'll want them." Normally I'd be fine with that, but honestly, it just rubbed me the wrong way. All the time she's known my mom died, she's been rude to us. But now that I could supply her with free stuff, she's suddenly interested in me? So I told her in simple and polite terms that I wouldn't be doing that. And she started saying that this was why she'd never wanted a relationship. That we were rude and selfish and that she didn't know why she bothered. She doesn't, but okay. Anyway, the rest of the evening was extremely awkward. And when she left, my mom and my stepfather told me that they thought I should just give her any samples she wants because that could be an excuse for them to see her more often, and maybe even the start of a friendship. I hadn't even questioned my decision, but my stepfather in particular seemed really disappointed. And now I feel bad. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You said it yourself. She wasn't interested in being even slightly cordial until there was free crap in it for her. Real relationships aren't built on giving people stuff, and I doubt that even if you tried their method, she'd be interested in speaking to you unless there's a PR box in it for her at that moment. In fact, I know that would be the case because I was in a similar situation when I was working for a modeling agency and would get PR and samples. Exactly. OP did an amazing job in not letting themselves be steamrolled. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She only wants you for your products. If she wanted to have a relationship with you, you wouldn't have to bribe her to get it. Not the a-hole. You were polite and firm. Do with your stuff whatever it is you want to do. And thank you so much for thinking of charities. It is amazing what a little nice product that you offer can do to a down-and-out person. Not the a-hole. It's your stuff, you can do whatever you want with it. How can your mom and stepfather think samples are good enough pillars to build a relationship on? Your mom can share her own samples if she wants your stepsister to have some. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for attending my dad's 60th birthday instead of sister-in-law's high school graduation? My dad turns 60 on Sunday, and my sister-in-law also graduates high school on Sunday too. I made plans last Wednesday to go out for dinner with my dad and my siblings this Sunday. My mother-in-law informed dear husband and I this Wednesday of graduation happening this Sunday. I kindly told her that I had plans with my dad, and we can stop by before the ceremony and take pictures with sister-in-law in her cap and gown, etc. That's when my mother-in-law blew up. She started coming at me aggressively and asked the following. Mother-in-law, so dear husband can't come to his sister's graduation? Me, well, he can do whatever he wants, I just won't be able to make it. Mother-in-law, I just feel like a high school graduation is more important than a birthday that can be celebrated literally anytime. Me? Well, he actually turned 60 on Sunday and is golfing Saturday with my brothers. Mother-in-law, you can see him literally anytime. Me? I haven't seen my dad since Christmas, and Sunday is his literal birthday. And then it kept going in circles like that until dear husband finally stepped in and reiterated we see sister-in-law, or neighbors with our in-laws, all the time, and he didn't really care to attend. For context, my dad lives alone and has been feeling lonely and sad lately. I would feel horrible if I missed his birthday. Rescheduling is hard because my brother works nights and has to sleep Sunday until his son's football game at 2, and is meeting us for dinner at 3:30 and going back home, an hour away, before returning to town again for work. Sister-in-law's graduation ceremony is at 2 p.m., an hour from the restaurant. She's also having a graduation party at a later date, which we will attend. I am going to try and see if my siblings can meet before my nephew's football game. But if that all fails, then I choose my dad's birthday. My a-hole. Not a-hole. Attending your father's milestone birthday dinner, after not seeing him for 5 months, trumps a high school graduation. We never know how long we will have our parents with us, and that's a fact of life. Another fact of life is that high school graduations are boring. I hated my own. I lost my dad at 61, and was thankful that I had a party for him that year, that he said he didn't want, but secretly did, and loved every minute of it, lol. Coming up on 6 years without him, I cherish those pictures and memories. OP not a-hole. Not a-hole. My Milestone birthday is kind of a big deal. Plus, it's one of your parents, so you don't even need to justify it. You're making an effort to make it work by attending the graduation early. That's considerate and thoughtful. Go to the birthday and enjoy. Don't feel guilty about being there for your dad. Not today, Hall. Your plans were made already. Enjoy dinner with your dad. By the way, high school graduation may have been a thing back when less than half the US had a high school diploma, but now it's not a big deal. Right? I kind of feel like everyone graduates high school and just having a grad party anyways in June, which we will attend anyways.
Am I the a-hole for not giving my ex-husband back his money? My ex-husband cheated on me 5 years ago, and I found out when he texted me instead of her. That ended our marriage, but the divorce was amicable. I told him that I couldn't forgive him, and he said he was sorry and we moved on. By that time, he had worked a small fortune, a company, 3 commercial properties, and a lake house. I got half of everything, and I am a silent partner in his company, getting returns twice a year. As an apology, he also gave me our apartment and lake house. It goes without saying that I don't need to work, but I still do because I love my career. He moved on with his affair girlfriend. I don't know much about them since it still pains me, but all I know is that they're still together. She contacted me in LinkedIn, telling me that since the divorce has cost him so much money, he has told her that he never wanted to get married again, nor move in together. And she blames me because I took everything. She is now pregnant, and according to her, my ex said that this wouldn't change his attitude towards moving in together or marriage. So now she is accusing me of being a thief, who is basically stealing her baby's chances of having a family. That I didn't need the money because I have a good job and everything was my ex-husband's. That I took advantage of him because he felt guilty. I haven't spoken to my ex in 5 years. I haven't even had the strength to answer him back every New Year to tell him to stop texting me Happy New Year because that's when we met. I don't know what to do. Is she right? Or should I ignore her? Now for the top comments before reading the mini update. Just block and ignore her. She played a stupid game and won a stupid prize. This is probably the best right answer, but I'm old, jaded, and just a little vicious. Personally, I'd send screenshots of her text to your ex-husband. But that's because I'm old, jaded, and not very nice. Me too, because I would have engaged in option 1 and 2. Go off and send it to him. Truth is that, he probably doesn't want to marry her and is using OP as an excuse. After all, he's still contacting OP on New Year's. He doesn't sound like a catch, and neither does a fair partner. Yep, he regrets the divorce and won't get married because he's holding out hope. He gave her extra things in the divorce because he cares. If he didn't, he would have given her the bare minimum and dragged it out. So the homewrecker is blaming you for his fate. That's rich, not the a-hole. About the only thing that's rich about her. I bet you she pursued him because of his money, and now he won't marry or move in with her even after she got pregnant. Something tells me she tried to baby trap him. At least she can get hefty child support for 18 years. Not the a-hole. She expected to get the guy and all of the marital property. It's not your fault that this loony person didn't understand that marital property is half yours. Send a message on to your ex. Politely tell him that you don't appreciate his girlfriend contacting you to ask for money and to complain about their relationship status. Ask him to have a conversation with her about leaving you alone. I think she knows marital property is half. Hence, she wants to get married to him, but he won't do it. I've seen a lot of women who think this guy has a good job, a nice house, and a luxury car, and chase after him, but don't also consider that his wife of 10/20/30 years is entitled to half of everything, and the guy could end up paying child support, college costs, and/or alimony after divorce. Also, the guy and his first wife may have built a good lifestyle based on their spending/savings/investing decisions. But the second wife, who didn't work for that money or invest it slowly over time, may not have the interest or personality to add to the household wealth. That's the kind of woman who marries a guy and then complains that he doesn't have as much money as she thought. Yeah, he has half as much money, more expenses, and the added burden of maintaining the expectations of the new wife/girlfriend. Mini update. Thank you everyone for the fast response. I was considering one of three options. Tell her off, tell him/forward her message to him, or ignore and block her. The majority are suggesting the latter, and I am inclined towards that too. Thanks and have a great weekend. I will try to read all your comments, but they're coming too fast. Sorry. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to repropose after my fiancé lost her engagement ring? I, 29 male, proposed to my fiancé, 28 female 6 months ago with a beautiful ring that I saved up for over a year to buy. She was thrilled, and we've been happily planning our wedding since then. Last weekend, we went on a trip to the mountains for a little getaway. During one of our hikes, she realized that her engagement ring was missing. She was devastated, and we spent hours retracing our steps, but we couldn't find it. When we got back home, she asked if I could get a new ring, and we proposed to her to recreate this special moment. I told her that I understood how she felt, but buying another ring of the same quality would be financially challenging for me right now. I suggested that we could either wait until I could afford a similar ring or get a more modest ring for now and upgrade it in the future. She was upset and said that it wouldn't feel the same with a different ring and that the magic of the proposal was lost. She insisted that she wanted the moment to be recreated just as it was before. I told her that the important thing was our commitment to each other, not the ring or the proposal itself, and she accused me of not caring enough about her feelings and said that if I truly loved her, I would find a way to make it happen. Now, there's a lot of tension between us, and she's been distant ever since. I feel like I'm being practical, but she feels like I'm not valuing our engagement enough. Am I the a-hole for refusing to repropose with a new ring under these circumstances? Not the a-hole. I would be horrified if I lost the ring my fiancé got me. No way would I expect him to replace it with conditions. Would really consider who you've asked to marry you and where their priorities lay. In the future, however, I would ensure the ring. Not only replace the ring, but redo the whole proposal. Lots of main character syndrome going on here. Run, OP. She is horrible to expect any of this. Hello, the door is open. Leave while you have the chance. You just got a view of what being permanently attached to her will be like. She ought to be ashamed for caring so little about securing something so precious. Not a-hole. If you really loved me, it's a trap to try to get you to do something. Not just illogical, but counterproductive. You have actual things that you need to use your resources on, besides sentimental, non-pressing moments to recreate. This actually sounds like some sort of test to see how far she can push you. Tread carefully. I would retort back, if you really valued our engagement, then you wouldn't have lost a ring. 100%. If anyone is entitled to be angry, it's you. If she can't take care of one precious ring, how many do you have to keep buying if she keeps losing them? I am wondering if the girlfriend really liked the ring and proposal at all. Oh no, lost a ring. Do over. Seems like a great way of getting what you really want. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying that my ex-husband was just like his father because he canceled on our daughter yet again? I'm making this fairly quick. I feel like I went a tad bit far with my comment. So me, 36 female, and my ex-husband, 38 male, were together for 6 years, married for 2 before he left me. At the time, our daughter was a year old. She was 5. There were no warning signs. I left to go do a grocery shop, came home to him and his clothes/things gone, left a note saying he was in love with a new woman and wanted a divorce. Just like that. I got absolutely no closure from that. Any calls or messages were dodged, even when they were about our daughter. Literally nothing. During our divorce, he tried to fight for full custody despite at this point not having seen her for 6 months, which was denied because he was in the military and at times constantly moving. I got full custody. He got supervision with holidays if he's not deployed. Shortly after our divorce, he married his now wife and they settled down in the city we live in. He's still in the military, but now he's on a specific base. I asked if he wanted to revise the custody since he was no longer traveling. He said no need, and he wants to take things slow. Since our divorce, he has maybe seen her 11 times, over what, 4 years? And mind you, he literally lives in the same city. Travel isn't a problem. My daughter is in therapy for this, just to process the absence/broken promises from her father. Typical I'll pick you up this weekend, only to be last second. Anyway, on to the issue. I got a call from him Friday night. He was supposed to pick our daughter up at 8 a.m. Saturday. I got a call at 1 a.m. because I was up working. And he basically says that he can't take our daughter to his place this weekend. After some back and forth, he says it's because his wife is upset with him spending time with her and that she gets jealous. Yes, jealous of a 5-year-old. Absolutely ridiculous. I've been fairly cooperative this entire time, but Jesus, I was so upset. Like a buildup of emotions, I just started yelling at him, calling him a sack of turd and a disgrace. I mentioned our daughter being in therapy, how upset she was seeing some of the other kids with dads. In her preschool, there was this dad day where the kids brought their dads to do activities with them. They had a mom day the previous week, and he promised to show, but pulled out last minute. I had to give her a sick day because she was so upset. So I really started going in on him. He gets angry and starts yelling and cussing back. Eventually, he got quiet, and I ended up saying, "You know what's really freaking funny? Our entire relationship, you made a big show about how much you hated your dad, how horrible he was to your mom and siblings, how your biggest fear was becoming like him. But honestly, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because you are just like him." This was said in anger. He isn't exactly like his father, but there were similarities, which was why I said it. His father cheated on his mother, abused them, and eventually left and abandoned them for another woman. Take out the abuse part, in my opinion, they're the same. He didn't say anything for a couple of seconds, said Jesus Christ, and then he just ended the call. I haven't had contact with him since then. I absolutely did not feel bad at the time. I felt like my words were justified. But the longer it waits, the more I feel like I went too far. I ended up telling my parents what I said to get some feedback, and they said it was cruel and unnecessary. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If the dad beat dad shoe fits. OP, you are not the a-hole. He's a terrible father. The fact your parents don't find it cruel how he treats his own daughter. To me, truth hurts, and the fact his wife is jealous of a child is gross. Yes, he is cruel to his daughter. Why are her parents not standing behind her and telling her that her ex needed to hear what an a-hole he is to their daughter? Feel so bad for the little girl. OP's ex is a huge a-hole and loser. Being civil hasn't had any impact. Maybe this will be the wake-up call he needs, so not the a-hole. But you can't let him get your daughter's hopes up anymore. Therapy is good, but the repeated disappointment just causes setbacks for her. Yeah, I've been thinking about this too. It's just draining her, and she's at a point in her life where I feel like him not being in her life full-time would make it easier for her. I've been thinking about giving him an ultimatum of signing over full rights, or getting his act together and being a father. My dad left my mom when I was 2. He tried to stick around for a couple of years after, and it was hard on everyone. I think around kindergarten he stopped completely, and honestly, it was really hard at first, but it was for the best. I remember talking to my grandma and her asking if I'd rather have just one big disappointment or constantly be disappointed, and I chose the first. It sucks, and it took until becoming a mother to come to terms with it all. How a parent chooses not to be in their kid's life, I will never understand. And I'm so sorry you and your daughter are going through this. You are definitely not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my girlfriend to be a stay-at-home mom, even though I could afford to? My 29 male girlfriend, 23 female Emily, and I have been dating for 4 years and have lived together since last October. She graduated from college last year and was able to get a job that paid an okay salary for an entry-level position. She didn't like the job too much, but she mentioned that it had good opportunities for promotions and would look good on her resume, so she hoped to move on to more interesting work that she is more passionate about soon. In January, my girlfriend became pregnant with a girl by accident. It wasn't planned and we considered abortion, but decided to keep the baby. We have since been preparing for the birth. We have good relationships with both my and her parents, and both sets of parents have said they would be willing to babysit our daughter for free. Recently, my girlfriend told me that she would like to quit her job after the baby is born to be a stay-at-home mom. Her reasons for doing so were, 1, she's getting very attached to our baby, even though it's not born yet. And the idea of dropping her off with a babysitter, even if that babysitter is one of our parents who we know will take good care of it, makes her want to cry. 2, Her mom was a stay-at-home mom, which allowed her to have home-cooked meals every day and do lots of fun stuff that she couldn't do with a babysitter. She wants to provide the same experience for our daughter. 3, she no longer likes her job and isn't sure if she wants to continue down the same career path. She regrets her major in accounting and wishes she had majored in something she is passionate about instead of something that just makes good money. 4, I recently got a promotion to a supervisory position in my company that came with a pay raise of nearly $40,000, so I can afford to support her and our daughter. 5, she didn't say it, but one of her friends recently gave birth and became a stay-at-home mom, so I'm sure that influenced her decision. She also tried to convince me by saying I would get more intimate moments every day, now that she would have more free time and energy for it, which I admit was tempting, and that she could cook all my favorite meals and do all the chores. I said no for a few reasons. 1, we were planning to buy a house in the next couple of years, and with me being the only one working, that would set us back by years in getting one. 2, I grew up poor. During my entire childhood, I only went to the movie theater a couple of times because my parents could not afford to take me out to do fun stuff like that often. For example, I got a new pair of shoes once a year and bought my clothes from Walmart. With both of our incomes, we have been able to enjoy a very nice lifestyle. We both drive nice new cars, go shopping or to nice restaurants or the movies regularly, and have also been on some nice trips and vacations. With only one income, we would have to curtail our spending by a lot. My girlfriend brought this up, but I don't really want to. With both of us working, we can keep our current lifestyle even after the baby. There are many things I still want to do and places I want to go, and we would have to put all our life plans on hold for several years, since my income alone would not be enough. So we would have to wait until I got even more raises or saved for a long time. 3, I just don't want the pressure of being the only person to provide for my family. 4, most people don't like their jobs. From what she told me, she mainly just does not like her boss and finds the work boring. My mom had to work a physically difficult job when I was a baby. So compared to her and many other women, my girlfriend has it easy. Sometimes you just have to suck up having a job you don't like. Also, while telling her no, I might have said a reason why she was feeling so attached to the baby was pregnancy hormones, and they would soon pass. So yeah, not my best choice of words. I mentioned this to my friends and my family. I've been told by some people that a true man provides for his family, and that I'm evil for wanting to separate a mother from her baby when I could afford to let her stay home. So am I the a-hole? If she has a major in accounting, she could get a work-from-home job keeping books for someone or something like that. She could work part-time with flexible hours while not leaving the baby. Maybe investigate this as a compromise. I think this, especially paired if they have family who can help care for the baby. I'm 100% remote work from home. My job gives 12 weeks paid maternity leave, but when I did go back, we had someone coming to the house to care for him while I worked for the next 3 months, since her own kids were out of school for the summer. It was great for my peace of mind that I could see him during the day and know she was taking good care of him. Then when he was 6 months, he started going over to her house during the day. Lol, this whole post shows how woefully unprepared you and your girl are for having a kid. Good luck, OP. With both of us working, we can keep our current lifestyle even after the baby comes. Oh, honey.